Mein Gott, I love democracy, especially German democracy. I mean, it is a bastion of human rights. Fun fact, did you know that if I were to make a video game, in order to sell that video game in Germany, again, a country that literally worships human rights, I mean, it's the beacon of wisdom and knowledge for the European Union, the heart of the European Union. If you want to sell a work of art, a video game, into Germany, there is a council of wise individuals appointed by the German government that are going to look at your work of art. Of course, you have to pay them 2,000 euros. And then they get to approve your game. If they do not approve, then you cannot sell into Germany. Now that is a free society. Like, when I think about bastion of freedom, like, if I was to be oppressed in Romania, I would run to the nearest free country, which is Germany. Germany does not know what extremism is. I mean, their party wants to hamper people from getting cars. They're against the gas stove. They don't like nuclear energy. They want to reshape and rethink the way we organize ourselves. That's not extremist, by the way. Like, when a country has policies that diminish the standard of living for the average citizen, potentially forever. Like, they don't say, okay, well, let's ban all cars. Let's ban the gas stoves. 2030. By 2030, zero carbon emission. Zero carbon emission by 2030. That is not extreme. Okay, like, that is within the realm of possible and rational. However, if you suggest that maybe we should limit immigration, far-right extremism. I mean, when you get in that country, how much violence has been done against the AFD? I mean, I'm not in Germany, so I don't read the Lugenpress or whatever they call it. But I do happen to, like, every now and then, get some articles in Romania, and it's like, AFD headquarters have been bombed. What the fuck? Like, that doesn't happen in my country. We got, like, various political parties here, and, like, why don't that happen here? Like, how do we do it? How does Romania do it? That you do not have, like, a political party's headquarters being bombed. This guy, yeah, he was from AFD. He got beaten up. He's in the hospital. That doesn't happen in Romania, but, like, I specifically remember how the European Union keeps wagging its finger towards Eastern Europe. Oh, we're very concerned about human rights abuses. And then you look at Germany like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? It's constant, right? And now I want you to look at this. Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution. In order to protect the Constitution, they have to call far-right one of the most popular parties. Again, I just want you to understand, like the extreme, radical, fringe proposition that we need to shut down our nuclear power. That's fine. We need to chop down our forests in order to warm ourselves up. Let's call it biomass instead of wood. Let's call it something different. Maybe the public doesn't realize just the absolute state where we're at. Let's have, like, this huge pipeline from Mother Russia to import as much gas as possible while we're going green. Let's try to push for the European Union to classify gas as green. Right? Like, those aren't fringe. Those aren't extremists. That's like what normal people think. That is normality in Germany. Censorship, perfectly fine. As more censorship and surveillance to the public as possible. And when finally the public organizes and wants to vote for something different, the rise of fascism. Like, you're telling me that with all that surveillance and with all that, like, you couldn't stop the rise of fascismus? But here's my question. Let's say the AFD is very bad. Like, they have some really bad people. Like, all the other politicians are good, kind, compassionate. But by God, this party, which went and splintered from the CDU, pure evil. Pure evil. All of them are very, very bad people. Very, very, very bad. Okay, fine. But, like, 33% of the population in this sector wants to be represented by them. Like, their ideas, their opinions. Can we separate the person from the idea, right? Like, their ideas is something that the public resonates with, because if you actually believe in democracy, it doesn't work the way the left thinks it works. It's not like the charismatic person comes along, right? Like everything is fine, everyone is happy, and then the charismatic person comes along and he institutes some grievances into the minds of people, and all of a sudden people are upset, even though like before they were complacent. No, it's actually the opposite way around, right? Like usually the people in power fuck things up for everyone else, and people are fed up and they're looking for an alternative. And they're going to vote for the people that represent them. Like, for example, in Romania, during the pandemic, a lot of people didn't like the government measures. So a political party that wouldn't even have gotten into the legislative, they were called Gold Hour, it had like, I don't know, like 2% of the votes or some shit like that. Like very, very low, a fringe group of people. Like, again, they didn't resonate with anyone. The pandemic happens, stay at home, stay safe. Our had a different take. It was like, no, I think like human rights are more important, right? Like if you want to stay at home and stay safe, that's fine. But allow other people to go home and work. To go out and work. Because they need to put food on the table. All of a sudden, they get like 13 or 40% of the votes, right? Why? Because there was a grievance in society that no other party was addressing. Like literally every single other party refused to talk about things differently. So if I, for example, didn't want to stay home and I didn't want to stay safe, I wanted to live dangerously and I wanted to go outside, who do I vote for? There's only one party that I could vote for, even though I disagree with other things they have, even though like on other issues, like on economical issues, I may not agree with them. But the reality was that if I wanted to have a different way of living, I had to vote for that party. So the question, I assume, is the same with Germany, right? Like they see Berlin, they see Jewish stars painted on the house of Jewish people. They see like all these pro-Palestine or in some cases even pro-Hamas rallies, right? And they're like, okay, well, what can we do about them? Well, the AFD seems to have a solution. Let's stop migration. The migration is not the weather. It's not like a storm. It's not like, no, like it's a policy. You can stop it. You can amplify it, right? So the AFD goes like, no, we're going to stop it. And people want to vote for them. So the question is like, what about these 33% of the people? Like, do they not get represented? Are you going to oppress them? Are you going to marginalize them? Because apparently that's what they're doing, right? Like they want the AFD to be called far right. Now you may wonder, it's like, what does it mean? Right? Like, why is it a thing that the Federal Office for the Protection of Constitution declares AFD far right? Like, what are the consequences, basically? Is it just like an insult? Well, no. I mean, by doing this, it can allow certain things to happen. Like, for example, for the AFD right now, it may be more difficult to get loans and to get funding and resources. Because companies can just say, well, we're not going to work with you because you have been labeled such. And if we do work with you because you have been labeled such, other companies will not work with us. So like that is one of the consequences, right? Difficulty in getting funding and resources. Surveillance and intelligence gathering. The government can now have justification in order to do what they did in the United States to Trump, right? Like apparently the allegation was that the Clinton campaign, the government was listening in to Donald Trump's phone. Like that was an allegation which I don't think it has been debunked even up until today. But imagine trying to organize a political campaign where the opposition knows what you're doing. So funding and resource, the possibility for the government to surveil and intelligence gather, which is probably what they're already doing. The public perception, of course. There may be like some voters that are dissuaded, or they may be voters for other parties that are more persuaded to go vote, like they would have stayed at home, but now that they're hearing, oh my god, the fascismus is on the rise. International relations can be affected, of course, and membership and support. Like a lot of people may be like, oh, well, I don't want to be part of this party because it has been labeled as far right, so I may get fired from my job. So this is why they're naming it, right? Like they're using literally every dirty trick in the book in order to suppress this one political party. Like, I'm sorry, if Germany was like an island somewhere, I wouldn't care. If you want to live like this, that's fine. To have leaders that are making all of these decisions and they don't want any repercussions for the decisions. And the repercussion should be that they should lose their seats, right? Like when you piss off your people so much, they should be able to vote you out of office. But you know, you want to be power hungry. I mean, Germans do what Germans do, right? Like cling to power. Okay, fine. But unfortunately, they are very influential in the European Union, and their way of thinking doesn't reflect the way Eastern Europe thinks. And I don't think it even reflects the way Southern Europe thinks or Northern Europe thinks. Like, if this shit would stay in Western Europe, it would be great. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.